So Drew Brees is kind of back, kind of a weird game that he had. So, against Kansas City, I talked about the weird game. I made a video on that, sort of how they tried to push the ball downfield, and it worked out here and there, but didn't work out as well as they wanted. Well, now he had a pretty good day. He completed 73% of his passes, but also threw 2 picks. So, even had a lower passer rating than he had the week before against Kansas City. What went right and what went wrong? Well, let's start with what went right. We'll start off with this one. This is a lot of what they did, where what you see is that this is kind of a sail concept, where what happens is that you're playing zone coverage, and this is great against zone coverage, especially a cover 3 zone play, because think about it logically how it works. You're essentially going to have 3 players all the way over outside the numbers to Brees' left, and there's only 2 Minnesota players who are in charge of covering that area. The deep defensive back will probably stay deep with the deep route, and then there's going to be 2 other routes, and you have Harrison Smith in this situation who can only cover one of the 2, leaving somebody else potentially open. This isn't anything too fancy, but it definitely is a staple of this Saints offense. It's that third layer. I talked a lot about having 3 layers on a play. I feel like last week they had a lot of 2-layer plays. I want 3-layer plays. That's what they have right here. Now, there is a way you can counteract this if you're Minnesota. Look at that guy right there. He's going to be very important. He's the next closest player in the area. So, again, that's what I talk about. There's 3 Saints players and only 2 Vikings in that area. So another Minnesota player has to get in that area, and he's the closest one. So there is a way that you can make this work. You have those 3 guys cover those 3 guys. They just all run over there. You kind of have a little bit of a rotation, and this can work. The real issue, though, is you just have to figure this out quick. You have to notice it quick. And really, you have to watch a lot of tape and figure this stuff out and realize in certain formations, the second you realize what's going on, you have to get over there, which is easier said than done, because oftentimes, especially the Saints, they do a good job of not having you realize that this is the play until it's halfway through. So when Brees takes the snap, you notice there is just a clear, wide open gap right here. And again, against a base zone coverage team that Minnesota has been this season, it's just really tough to stop the Saints offense, and this is why. Because, it's not a horrible read. You just read it a little bit slow, which is understandable, but now all of a sudden someone's wide open. So Brees makes that throw, and they get, basically a free 8 yards right there, and that's what they didn't have in the Kansas City game too much. They didn't have those free plays that they got in Minnesota and that they tend to get throughout most games. Like this one's another one where it's going to be a somewhat similar play, a very similar play actually. It's, you can see the concept. This time it's on the top of the screen, but very similar. The one way that they're even adding upon it is they're going to run a play action, and Brees is going to roll out. Yeah, old man Drew Brees, he's going to roll out on this play to his right. So again, same kind of thing. 3 layers, only 2 Minnesota players. When Brees takes a snap and runs the play action, that even gets Vikings linebackers even more out of position. So this time it's the middle guy who's going to be open, and they're able to make this play so easily because they're able to get guys open so easily. And again, it's fooling teammates or fooling opposing teammates into not knowing exactly who they're covering. The play action just makes it that much more difficult. That's Sean Payton. That's what Sean Payton does. He's really good at these types of things. He loves these types of plays, and I love them too. They're really effective. Brees makes the throw, and they're able to get a first down and more. Again, it's not like the Saints are the only team that does this, but they are a team that loves to do it a lot, and they execute it really well. And the reality is that you look at last week, they didn't run these types of plays too often. They were trying to get everything deep down the field. I love when they do these types of plays just way more. Honestly, that was a lot of the good. I'm not going to sit here and say that Brees was like throwing dimes out there, threading the needle, but he didn't have to because guys were open consistently because, again, the scheme and the system worked, which is honestly fine because we know Drew Brees is a good quarterback. He's shown us that. Everyone is waiting for Drew Brees to fall off. It's weird how these quarterbacks get old and everyone's ready for them to collapse. Brees, I think he's still good. I don't know. Yes, the system helps, but he's still good. It's hard to say that too much. He did have some bad, though, in this game, so I should talk about that, even though the game as a whole was fantastic for the Saints offense. So the first pick was this play, and you're going to notice that this looks a little bit familiar, doesn't it? This is, again, that whole 3-layer play. The sail concept, it's a little bit different. It's not really a sail concept, but it's similar to that type of thing. That's what they're doing right here. So for Minnesota, eventually they did kind of figure this out a little bit. They were able to some degree, read these too often, and that's okay, by the way. I mean, I think the logic is, well, what happens when opposing defenses start to read this type of thing? I mean, that happens on every route, right? Sometimes you have, in man coverage, you have a receiver run a curl, and the defensive back just notices it and cuts in, and then it's on the quarterback to not throw it there because it didn't work out. But when this play starts, you notice it's well played by Minnesota. They all get into the right assignment. They all know which guy to cover and get there very quickly, make the read very quickly. So that's good, right? And, every now and then that happens. So good job by Minnesota. Now Drew Brees can't make this throw, though. He has to know, okay, they played it well. Maybe just take a check down. He has a check down to his left. I would like that one, or even to his right. Take a check down, which Brees is great at checkdowns. Yes, it is third down, but maybe a player can make a move. If not, then it's okay. You'll take the field goal. But also, if you look at Cook, you can see why Brees wants to make this throw. He trusts Cook to be able to make a cleaner cut. He's going to try to make a throw in that direction because he just trusts his arm and he trusts Cook. And I don't like this decision. I think it's too risky, but I do understand the logic behind it. It wasn't a great cut from Cook. It was a great defensive play, and it gets intercepted. Not a great decision. It's a fine throw. The decision itself it wasn't great from Brees. Again, I'm not going to kill him for it because everyone makes bad decisions, but we're just so not used to seeing Brees make bad decisions ever that it always surprises us when they happen. But I think it's fine. I think Brees he made a little bit of a bad decision, but also it was kind of the worst case scenario that happened. Not a big deal, and I trust him to not continuously make those bad calls or bad throws. Everyone makes them every now and then. And the other interception, it's really hard to blame him too much. There was definitely an element of luck where it's going to be a play action. Brees rolls out to his right. He's going to have a player who's in motion. He's going to flash over there, and he's just going to flip it over to, it's Emmanuel Sanders that he's going to try and throw it to. So Brees takes the snap. He fakes the handoff, and he does get over in that direction. And Sanders is open. There is pressure in between Brees and Sanders, so that's kind of an issue for sure. You would love if that wasn't the case, or if at least it was off to the side so Brees could just cleanly make this throw. Not really the case, so it's a little bit more of a difficult throw than it would be if there was no pressure. Even though these ones look very easy on TV, sometimes they're actually a little bit difficult. The throw is maybe a tad high, but it gets batted up and intercepted, and it even took like a weird bounce up. It didn't even go just straight up. It also went towards the inside. I'm showing this angle now because it'll give you a better look at it. Again, you can argue it's a bit high. It hit Emmanuel Sanders in his hands, though. You got to make the grab, even if it wasn't a perfect throw and there was pressure. It's one that, how do you freak out over something like that? It happens. Every now and then, one of these weird things happens. So, is Brees, noodle arm Brees? I don't think so. I think he made fine plays, and the system works really well. It was against Minnesota, and I do think that matters, but at the same time, we've seen it work against much better defenses. I wish that they had this system against Kansas City. I get why they didn't, largely because Kansas City doesn't play as much zone as Minnesota does as well, but I would have still liked to see that. But either way, we basically know what we were 99% sure was the case. Brees is still fine, and the system works really well. That's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. What are your thoughts? Am I giving too much credit to Sean Payton? Am I not giving enough credit to Brees? I think I'm giving Brees some credit, but obviously I do think Sean Payton probably had a bigger handle in this one than Brees did. And also, Alvin Kamara had 6 touchdowns as well. I could talk about that, but I already talked about it a good amount on my video I made right after the Christmas game. So don't want to beat a dead horse too much. So that's my thought on this game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.